We made it. We're here. This is the final part of the Netlify series where we just link you to more stuff that you can learn. The first part I should probably tell you about is how to figure out if something is wrong with Netlify itself. That is the Netlify status. There is a netlifystatus.com page that is updated whenever there is a confirmed or reported incident. And you can check out the incident history if you think you've been affected in one of your sites, as well as subscribe to updates. There's also a Twitter account that you can follow to get more updates, or just check if you're in Twitter and you can get a link to what's going on over there. If you're not checking the status of Netlify, you might probably trying to debug something that's in your build. Unfortunately, a lot of build issues are user issues. So there's not a lot that we can do, but we can at least document some of the common gotchas. So this is actually in our docs that we document them. So this is actually in our docs, and these are common issues that people face. So we hope that some of this might help in terms of something that you're facing. In particular, my top tip is to make sure that you can run your build locally and it outputs what you expect before you deploy it and introduce continuous deployment to your build process. For even more self-service help, you can head to the Netlify community site, where there are people helping each other on Netlify issues, as well as related static site generator issues. And for the FAQs, you can check out the common issue tag that has been created by the support team. And these are typical issues that they've run into supporting hundreds of thousands of developers over the past 5 years. If you're on a paid tier, you can have Netlify support. And depending on the tier, you can have support via email or Slack or carrier pigeon. It really depends on your pricing plan with Netlify. And lastly, if you need to check something with Netlify, you can also check them on Twitter, including getting a job with Netlify support. Now, I don't know about you, but I actually learned a lot from watching talks. So these are some talks I picked out to recommend to people for learning what Netlify does and is and Jamstack is about. Matt Billman gave this awesome talk at Smashing San Francisco in 2016, basically giving the founding thesis on Netlify, and it's all about what Jamstack does and why there is a resurgence in static site generators. Chris Coyer talked recently about how the front-end developers are now full-stack developers because of everything that they've been enabled to do with the Jamstack. Sarah Drasner talked about how the Jamstack is a new way of joining together APIs, JavaScript, and markup. Just like the iPhone, it's not inventing anything new, but it's putting them together in a useful new way. And you can even do things like e-commerce with the Jamstack. And it's actually better because it's faster. Phil Hawksworth gives a really good talk on the agency perspective because of his many years of experience in agency life and how it can lead to faster delivery times from a waterfall cycle to a more continuous approach. The Citrix team gave an incredible talk recently about migrating to Jamstack and Netlify with their docs team and how their business processes and cost savings were very, very significant here for a large enterprise use case. Quincy Larson and Free CodeCamp aren't an enterprise, but they do have massive scale on the order of millions of users. And Quincy also talked about how he serves millions of users using the Jamstack because his number one priority is cost and scale. And that's a perfect fit for something like a Jamstack. And lastly, Jaman Ferguson of PayPal moved PayPal.me to Jamstack and recently gave a talk about it. And so this is an enterprise level talk, does not use Netlify, but still talks about the benefits and some problems with moving to the Jamstack that he solved. So these are all very good perspectives of real life use cases. I also learned a lot from how venture capitalists think about things. So the 4 places that I recommend people go to are the Andreessen Horowitz and Kleiner Perkins investment theses in Netlify, as well as Kleiner Perkins investment thesis. Redpoint and CRV are also interested in investing in the Jamstack ecosystem. So if you're interested in starting a Jamstack startup, you can check out their roadmaps and ecosystems and think about what parts of the ecosystem are lacking. CRV also has another Jamstack ecosystem chart, and I strongly recommend checking that out as well and thinking about where you fit and what you want to use and what you want to outsource. So that's the broad landscape of Jamstack. There are a couple more resources that I want to point you to learn more. First is jamstackconf.com. This is the premier Jamstack conference organized by Netlify, but definitely not exclusive to Netlify. There's jamstack.org with even more resources about definitions, marketing material, best practices, examples, resources, and stuff. There's a Jamstack Slack that you can join at jamstack.slack.com. There's a older, broader community called the New Dynamic, and this is also a very active Slack channel. HeavyBit, one of the investors in Jamstack, also puts out a Jamstack radio podcast with a bunch of interviews that are really great, just covering the Jamstack ecosystem as well as developer experience. And finally, Netlify recently published a book with O'Reilly on the modern web development with the Jamstack. And this is a free book. You just have to give your email, and it is a pretty good read on why the Jamstack, what is the Jamstack, and what you can do with it. So that's the summary of everything that I know about Netlify. Hopefully this whole video series has been helpful, and it's definitely the first iteration, so I'm keen on getting more feedback about it. And thank you for your time.